In this episode, Gakuto is back in the dueling seat for a Kendo Rush duel. Hey there, my name is Rex, and episode 57 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. Episode was a little late, but things are kind of getting interesting now, as from the last episode, Roman lost, so now the score is at 2-1. So it's still looking good for them, but let's see how things work out, as Gakuto is asked by the Kendo Club to fill in for a tournament over the weekend, so he does, and that's where we get the duel, the conflict. As they show up, nobody's there except for Yuron, one of the Goha siblings, as well as this drone who is called the Proprietress, and she's talking a lot more for Yuron, basically talking for Yuron, setting everything up and challenging them to the duel, to the Kendo Rush duel. And Gakuto gladly accepts, as he thinks, he's kind of better suited for it. And, it's his time to duel. So it's Gakuto versus Yuron, while in the middle, Renosuke is dueling against the Proprietress. And one interesting thing is, during everything, she's talking for Yuron. She's saying everything, and especially even reminding him of things during the duel, while she's saying, go ahead, summon a monster, and it's like, oh, aren't you gonna set more cards? And he's like, oh yeah, sure. And so it's kind of interesting too, and we had kind of known that Yuron was kind of one of the ones who was more reserved out of everyone, or that he's waiting until now to duel, as they've basically gone through the main Goha siblings except for the final boss, basically. During Gakuto's turn, it's seeming like he's gonna close it out, as he summons out Kima Roller really quickly, as well as some other monsters that's able to deal piercing damage, and another monster that can attack, and as well as Kima Roller can attack directly. So against one set monster, it seems like that's basically gonna be it. But of course, the Proprietress is reminding you on activate some trap cards. And so he's able to hold off for a bit with some cards that would allow him to stop or inflict life point damage to Gakuto. One that also summons a monster from his hand to help, a warrior monster from his hand to help stop the attacks and this and that. And one that destroys one of his monsters as well. So again, it's seeming like a little more reserved in that sense. And we get a little more idea of what Yuron's deck exactly is, as we see, a lot of these monsters that are swords, brooms, basically. And, we kind of knew that he was going to be using Millennium Shield, so it's kind of interesting. It's basically a whole archetype now around that. While it's Millennium Shield, it's like, 100-year sword, 1-year broom, stuff like that. And they're all monsters with 0 attack and a decent amount of defense, or at least it seems like that. So now during his turn, he kind of we get a little more sense of him. And one interesting thing, we cut away to Swirly, who does a little more in this episode, finding the contestants who are supposed to be at this Kendo tournament, bringing them in, and they then say, oh, Euron's the one who beat us all up. So now he's seeming a little more intimidating, as during his turn, he sets one big tribute monster, and it's pretty obvious, this is going to be the Millennium Shield, a monster with big defense. So he sets some trap cards and lets it be. So now that we know that there's a little more to him, or that he seems a little more scary than we initially thought. Now coming back to Gakuto's turn, Gakuto summons his brand new monster, which is Fiendish Commander Kime Luna, a monster with 0 defense, 2500, or 0 attack, 2500 defense. And so now he sets everything out. Gakuto's got all the strategy going. He's like, well, if you set a big monster, right, it's got to have a lot of defense. So let's go ahead and use sword and shield, or shield and sword. Switch attack and defense, putting Kime Luna at 2500, and he switches Millennium Shield to attack mode then. So now it's like, okay, Kime Luna's 2500 against Millennium Shield 0 attack, now that's actually in attack position. And he's also got some other cards that would protect him from burn damage, as well as protect his monsters from being destroyed. So it's seeming like, now he's also bolstered some of his defenses so that he can finally be set up to go on the attack. He's thinking, okay, all his monsters are protected from any trap effects that there could be, except that the type of trap Euron activates during the battle phase, when Gakuto declares an attack, is a trap version of Shield and Sword that switches the attack and defense during the battle phase. So that just swaps them back. That puts Kime Luna back to 0, and that puts that puts Millennium Shield up to 3,000 attack, which is pretty crazy. And then now it's kind of revealed, set up exactly what Euron, or what his strategy is. It's not just, waiting, gathering intel. It's counterattacking, right? And, he even revealed it as during his last turn, he spoke up more for himself, or he announced what he was doing himself. Is that, he's waiting, gathering information, and then he goes on to counterattack. So it's kind of interesting. And so with that, Gakuto loses the duel. And, while Gakuto was, thinking things through, strategizing, there was basically no, I guess nothing he could have done against that. Like, he played well. He did everything that he, could have, basically. But against this this 5D chess, thinking like 5 turns ahead with that Euron is doing, it just didn't work out. So it kind of sets that up. So now everything is tied. Got 2 wins, 2 losses. And, I guess we were kind of expecting that, especially, coming after last episode with Roman losing. It's kind of not necessarily to stretch it out, but I guess make it a little more realistic. Having these characters who were set up as very powerful and good duelists. You can't just have them all lose. Like I said, I think it made sense with just the personalities that the other 2 had. It just made a little more sense for them to maybe not be as serious. But now with the final 3 remaining, we'll see how that goes. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens going forward, because if they're going to have to get more wins in order to, get everything with the Rush Duel Robot, they're going to have to rematch in some way. So I wonder if it's going to be exact rematches again, or if it's going to be someone else dueling against them. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But I did enjoy this episode. I thought it was pretty good. Again, I think last episode was just amazing. This one I think was still good and fine. I obviously enjoyed it. But I think coming off of last episode is kind of interesting. But now it's getting more and more interesting as we're going to see how things unfold going forward. Exactly with how how the next few duels are going to be set up, and what the wins are going to be. Especially now everything's tied up. So our team's gonna have to pull ahead. But we'll see where that goes. But if you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about the episode in the comments below, because we'll continue the discussion down there. There's also the bell icon. You can click that to enable notifications, and it'll make sure you see each new video as it comes out. But yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's been pretty cool, pretty neat lately. But anyway, this has been Rex. Have a nice day.